Hey guys, AJAX 22 here, continuing work on that first Steampunk 1911. This is the drawing that I've been using to sort of figure out what I'm going to do with this. As you can see, I'm going to do a cutaway on the top of the slide to expose more of the brass barrel lining. Going to have a truncated frame with an exposed recoil spring. Captured guide rod that's going to extend out through the bushing in the front. Pretty standard. I might use like a titanium nitride spring to give it a little bit of color there, but I want a fully exposed spring on this one. Beyond that, a big part of this build is going to be making a set of custom grips out of, I think, 1/4-inch brass plate. I've got some on order, and I think we're just going to do a slab. But instead of having the standard, 1911 grip panels with the holes in the center, we're going to do 4 grip bushings that allow it to have a slot milled in the center, and then have a slot milled in the center of the mag underneath. That way you can actually have an indicator for, visual indicator how many rounds that are in the gun. I'm going to keep a flat mainspring housing on it, and I'm actually even thinking about bobbing the nub on the back of that grip safety and kind of going with a Tokarev look to the back of the gun. Very, very clean, very streamlined. Haven't figured out the hammer yet. I'm leaning towards doing like a Fitz Special bob on it in keeping with the redacted trigger guard. Yeah, still a work in progress, but I think it's going to be really interesting when it gets all together. Probably going to do a custom slide release lever. Take a standard slide release lever and then weld on a little piece to it, grind it smooth, and then add probably a little turned brass nub. Was thinking about doing a redacted safety. Kind of have some mixed feelings on that. Welding the frame up would give it a really neat look, potentially, but it'd be dangerous as hell, especially if you bob the hammer, have no safety, and have an exposed trigger. At that point, it'd almost be too dangerous to really play with. But you could. It's just something I've been toying with. I'm probably going to actually have the loading indicator on the left grip panel, not the right grip panel, just because that way, since I'm right-handed, I can look at it without, having to take my hand off the grip. I didn't think of that when I was doing the sketches. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting gun. Going to have a lot of parts to track down, but I forgot to mention, I figured out what the heck the madman that was building this stuff was doing with this gun. It was actually an experiment in drag tension on the barrel. This little rivet was acted upon by this little spring and adjusted by this tiny little screw, and then that was in the bottom of this assembly here. This threads into the little tube here, and then he would adjust the tension that would drag on this brass sleeve that's been affixed to the barrel. Not exactly sure what he was trying to accomplish with this. I think it was just an experiment to see what would happen. Yeah, so there's that. I'm probably going to start using a 80% frame on this instead of using this one. This one's one of those aluminum frames, actually. So I'm not a huge fan of aluminum frames. They're a little harder to work with. I'm going to use them eventually, and I'm probably going to use them for these builds. I think they were being used for some sort of a fitting jig. These were old saw cut D mills from back in the day. But yeah, getting the aluminum welded for me is a lot harder than getting the steel welded. I don't necessarily have all the tools that I probably should to work on this stuff, so I'm always bumming time in some of my friends' machine shops, and I don't know anyone that's set up to weld aluminum right now. Can do stainless, can do pretty much everything else, but just nobody's set up to do aluminum. But yeah, that's the concept on this. I pretty much have to source a lot of stuff, and there's going to be a lot of just raw material, a lot of bar stock going into this one, a lot of machine time. But it's pretty close. It's not insane amounts. Not insane amounts. Definitely very doable. All right, that's it for this one. Have a good one.